This is a Film Stories original podcast. We made this.
Welcome to a special edition of the X-Cast. I'm Sarah Blair, and I'm with Carl Sweeney. Hi, Carl.
Hello, Sarah. How's it going?
It's pretty good. We're here to do the commentary for the pilot episode number one, numero uno. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait.
I'm really excited. It's been ages as well since we've podcasted, so I'm doubly excited, you know.
Dynamic duo back at it.
Yeah.
All right, Agent Sweeney, you got your sunflower seeds. You all set for this?
I've got my sunflower seeds. I've got my spray paint. I'm ready to go.
All right, excellent. Okay, folks, here we go. Let's count down so we all know when to start. We can start together. Carl, you've got your DVD going. I'm on a streaming network, so let's do this thing. Okay. Do you want the honor of counting down, Carl?
Okay, let's say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. I'm going.
All right, I'm going to.
The X-Files.
Yes. Okay, so I just have to say, this is the one episode that really takes me back. It's like the one that's a time machine for me.
How do you mean? Because you didn't see this until you'd already got into the series, a bit later on, hadn't you?
Right. So I got it when those videos came out, the special edition videos came out. So I had it on VHS, and I didn't watch it till probably I don't even know when they came out. But it was second season-ish.
Yeah. I think in the UK it was even later. It was definitely later when I got them anyway. So yeah. Yeah.
But for some reason, this is the one episode that whenever I watch it, I am transported instantly back to my living room. And I'm 14 years old watching this. It's just so nostalgic for me. I don't know why.
Well, it feels to me like a kind of a time capsule piece. It looks a bit older than the rest of the series, just in many ways, like Scully's hair and everything. And, yeah, I know what you mean. So this is the first teaser sequence, really, even though we don't get the credits, of course. Yeah. And it's a pretty good one.
It is. It's, totally creepy.
Yeah. Because, who's this? This is, I think her name's Karen Swinson or something, is it?
I think so.
Dead girl?
Yeah. She's got red hair like Scully.
So this is Oregon, yeah? So that's the Pacific Northwest, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that sort of Pacific Northwestern setting always reminds me of Twin Peaks, which also starts with the discovery of a dead girl, I think Carter was a bit of a fan of that series.
Yeah. And Bellflower is where he was from in California, right?
Yeah, and they just transported the name over. Yeah, it's quite a neat little touch, isn't it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love how he's it's happening again! It's happening again! It's going to be really hard for me to not just quit this whole thing.
Right, now here we are, FBI building. First time ever.
Yeah.
And who is this young maiden? Who is this? Doesn't she look ridiculously young?
Somewhat like Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs.
The way she styled with her hair. Yeah,
amazing.
Definitely. We see this room in the FBI a bit in season 1, I think, where she's walking through now. We see a bit more of the building in the season 1 early episodes.
Yeah, and it's they've got the bullpen and all that. And
yeah.
Then eventually Mulder and Scully just retreat to their basement, and that's that.
Which is a bit more dramatically satisfying, I think. But yeah. Right, Section Chief Blevins, answer me this, Sarah. He outranks Skinner, yeah. So why is his office so much smaller than Skinner's?
Because Skinner's a badass.
Oh, well, it's not the size of your office, it's what you do with it that counts, isn't it? So. I mean, the thing with this scene is that if this series had been made like 10 years earlier, like the thing about the smoking man being sinister because he smokes indoors probably wouldn't have packed as much punch, would it? You know,
Yeah.
they'd have all been smoking. Scully would have been smoking. You know,
It's true.
I quite like Blevins. Obviously, Skinner's the best, but I wish we'd have seen a little bit more of Blevins, maybe.
You think? I
He's
don't know.
alright, isn't he?
Well, I guess for a sinister shadow man being controlled by the cigarette smoking man, I suppose he's alright.
Do you know what's funny is that you know when Jeffrey Spender turns up in season 11, I read that he was the same age there as the cigarette smoking man is here, which the cigarette smoking man's only in his like 50s here, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
But,
I read that they went through 12 packs of Morley cigarettes in this scene.
is this factually verified? Is it, Sarah? Well, isn't the thing that didn't he always smoke herbal cigarettes? Isn't that what the story is? That he was a smoker and had given up and
was it clove? I think
something like that. Yeah.
Oh, do you want me to debunk the X-Files project, sir?
I know I've already said it, but she just looks amazingly young, almost too young to be a doctor, and to have done a doctorate and all this. And,
Well, I do like her hair in this episode, though. I wish they kept it, but well, here we go.
The first shipper scene, according to some.
Yes. Just the way that, I love that she looks around the office and she takes everything in, then he turns around and their eyes meet and it's love at first sight.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this scene is really well done, isn't it, I think?
Oh, yeah.
And he's do you think he's kind of trying to act kind of casual? He's doing his slides and stuff, but he must have spent a bit of time preparing for her to come down because he's read her thesis and everything.
Oh yeah, he totally knew she was coming.
Yeah.
He's read her file.
Yeah. Hot.
She, you can totally tell she's like, ooh, you read my paper.
So we're getting ready for the first Mulder slideshow. First of many.
You definitely know, the way to win Scully's heart is to talk about Einstein's twin paradox.
Yeah.
And then turn on the slide projector and ruin it all.
Right, remember these marks, people. They'll be important later. Yeah.
Foreshadowing. No spoilers, Carl. Here's that medical degree coming into use. I mean, it's great that she gets to use her degree because I know I never did. I mean, not never. I mean, I do have a published book, so technically a creative writing degree, yes, I'm using it. But, I mean, if you're a medical doctor,
it's good stuff. So
get to use it.
I have plenty of theories. I like that line.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I love this scene. Straight away, the back and forth is pretty much in place, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But is it this thing here where he says, do you believe in extraterrestrials? I don't know. He's a bit zany in this episode, I think.
I think he's, feeling her out and trying to tease her a little bit.
I think that's true, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen at her go. She, totally buys into it.
Of course, this scene is just kind of a warm-up for the memorable scene in Babylon many years later, where we get the FBI's most unwanted thing again. Yeah.
Exactly. I love how she wants to take it seriously, and he's so off the wall, and he's been dealing with all this from everybody else, and
Yeah.
He look at it. He knows he's met his match right there.
I'd have almost liked to see Scully do a bit more debunking in season 1. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would have been interesting if she'd been...
Look at that smile.
Oh, look at that plane.
She's so in love already.
Now, what do you think about this man spreading on the plane here? By the way? You know, that's not very professional, is it?
No, that would never go off these days. And,
no.
You know.
Dr. Nemeth.
Way too crowded, yeah. Oh.
It's actually one of the few times we see them en route to a case, isn't it? Like, in a plane. I mean, we see a bit of driving and stuff, but we don't see them fly very often later in the series, do we?
No, they just kind of always sort of get there. But I think this is good because it establishes, like, hey, we're dealing with UFOs, and oh my goodness, they're on a plane, they're gonna get attacked by aliens. Nope, that's not it.
Yeah. And Mulder's, like, pretty calm about it all.
Yeah. He totally knows what's up. Remember when you used to have so much leg room on airplanes? It was great.
Yeah.
Good times.
Alright, so is this the scene... Alright, so sunflower seeds, first sighting, isn't it?
Yes. That oral fixation.
Yeah. Is it this scene where he does the X on the road, or is it a bit later? I can't remember. We'll soon find out, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Vancouver and Oregon, not too far away, I guess. Is my geography right there? I don't know.
Yeah, not too far away. Oregon is, like, below Washington. So you got Oregon, and then Washington, and then Vancouver. So, in the general vicinity.
Yeah, pretty good double in then for this location.
Yeah, for sure. It's all the Pacific Northwest. It all looks,
Mulder driving, interestingly, of course. And, which episode is it where they talk about that? It's Syzygy, isn't it? Later on in season 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, this must be the X then, because the radio's going haywire. Mm-hmm. What I want to know, Sarah, is where did he get that paint can from?
Yeah, it was just randomly in the car, right?
Well, he must have brought it on the plane, mustn't he? I guess. Or
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe he stopped at the hardware shop on the way. He had it in his carry-on because you could do that before 9/11, or maybe I don't even remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
I wasn't in the habit of taking spray paint on paint. But
and we never see him spray an X on the road again, do we? I don't think.
I don't think so.
Obviously, they return to this one in Requiem.
Yeah. But it's the same one. I love how she's just like, you are just insane. Like, who are you? Probably nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, have you noticed we've got the date on the screen, March 7th, 1992. So then there's, we don't normally get the date, and then the rest of the series is in 1993. So that's a bit of an oddity, I think.
Yeah.
So there's a period of about a year that's kind of unaccounted for, where, I don't know.
So much fanfic to be written.
Yeah. Okay, so here we are at the cemetery, and what's going to happen?
I can't imagine. They couldn't possibly find a maybe alien.
What do you think of this actress who plays the young lady here? Because I've always wondered about her performance, you know. She seems a bit kind of...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like she's... I don't know. Like, her acting is good, but her dialogue is a little bit different. I don't know. But I guess you could chalk that up to being stressed out that all your friends are being abducted by aliens. I don't know.
I suppose that is quite a stressful situation, yeah. What's going on? You know, I've seen this episode, I don't know how many times over the years, but still aspects of the plot of this one that confuse me a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm sure as we get through it, I'll get confused again.
Oh, Mulder. That's kind of a dickish thing to say, I think.
What's that?
He's like, guy obviously needed a longer vacation.
So, have you noticed how Scully's reading the notes here and Mulder's just kind of like, whatevs? And I'd read something that Chris Carter had that's what he decreed. Like, Mulder doesn't do notes, you know.
Yeah.
If you know, whenever they investigate crime scenes, he never has a notepad or anything, you know. He just kind of takes it all in.
Yeah. What's that? It helps to have a... What do you call it? Memory. Yes, that. Yeah. I should have had a little extra coffee this afternoon.
That coffin, it's a good job that gravestone was there, because that would have rolled right into the road, wouldn't it?
Would have taken out those police cars. Mulder and Scully's car. Oh.
Bum, bum, bum.
I love... This isn't official procedure. Yeah, really?
No shit. Now, the theory I've heard on this, which I quite like, is that this is like one of the hybrid bodies. You know, like we see in the, Nisei 731, where they're in the kind of open grave, like in a leper colony.
Yeah.
And that it's not an alien, it's just one of these kind of test subjects. I don't know if Chris Carter would kind of thought that far ahead, you know, but it kind of fits with what comes later.
Yeah. I mean...
Mulder, put the camera away, please. I think Scully says it's probably an orangutan or something like that, doesn't she?
Yeah.
And that's her kind of explanation. Yeah. First autopsy, obviously. I mean, history in the making, really.
There's a lot of firsts in this episode.
Yeah.
Yep. Possibly an orangutan.
Yeah. I like the way this is done, you know, with they're both, you know, on either side of the the autopsy table or whatever. You know, like they've got this quite interesting like antagonism through the pilot, you know. Mm-hmm. It gradually kind of goes away. I have the same doubts you do. Interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he does.
Yeah. I'm not sure I believe that. But I do love that he sounds really genuine. Like, like, I'm not crazy. Like, he really wants her to believe him. He needs somebody to believe him. Poor Mulder.
Well, that sort of comes out through the series now, doesn't it? They sort of bring out the best in each other, don't they? Mm-hmm. In quite a complimentary fashion, yeah.
Steven Spielberg. I love that they.
Now this is 4:37 in the morning, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And he's knocking on her door. Come on.
And of course she's awake.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, they're on East Coast time, so technically it's 3 hours. They're it's like 7 in the morning their time.
So they're kind of out of whack, yeah.
But it's implied that they've been up all night, so I don't know that technically works, but...
No, well, you know, when we did something on the Twitter account ages ago about the pilot, and, like, we went through the episode, like, day by day in terms of, like, the story, and I don't think Mulder sleeps during the pilot. I don't think there's a time where he's not awake.
Yeah.
If there is, it's kind of minimal.
Well, he's about to find aliens, so I'm sure he's pretty wired. He's pretty excited.
Yeah. So we're about to be in the hospital, is that right?
Yes. I can't remember the name of this hospital, but you can see it in Vancouver. I've got a friend who...
Definitely, I'm still trying to organise a Vancouver trip at some point.
I want to go so bad. I've never been.
Yeah. I want to go to, like, Skyline Mountain, I think would be
a
good day out, something like that.
We just need to have an X-Cast crew
convention.
Like a road trip. Yes, exactly.
We'll podcast the drive.
Yes. We'll go to X-Fest and then drive to Vancouver. It's a long way, I'll tell you that much. But there's enough of us we can share and get there. Just get a little van and go.
Do stints, yeah. drive all night. So Billy Miles. So
Yeah.
I don't think you got far enough in season 8 to see him return properly, did you, Sarah? When you did your rewatch?
Well, I saw Requiem.
Yeah, he comes back again in season 8 though, like about halfway through.
Ooh.
And then spoiler, he's kind of the bad guy then.
Oh no, something's happening. What is it? Blood. Nosebleeds. Oh no.
Right, marks on the lower back. Remember this for later.
Poor Peggy.
Yeah. Scully's off. Where are you going, Scully? This is a good little scene here between the two of them, I think.
Uh-huh. She's like totally freaked out.
Yeah.
I love that she doesn't put up with his bullshit.
Cut the crap. Yeah. Abducted. How much do you think they're like, into the roles already? Like, do you think it takes them a while to kind of grow into it, or do you sort of see them from day one and you think, that's our Mulder and Scully kind of thing? In terms of like the actors, yeah.
I think that he's in it more than she is, maybe. But I like this version of Scully. I wish she hadn't. I don't know if they directed her to be more stoic or what, but I really like this version of Scully because she is, she's strong and she's curious. She wants the answers just as much as Mulder does, but she wants it to be through the proper scientific channels. But she's willing to, she just wants the truth just like he does. Yeah. But, they're just going about it in two different ways, trying to find it.
Well, we've got the first use of flashlights, haven't we, here in the series?
Take a drink.
Yeah. And you can see in the background of this scene, it's like just pouring with rain, I think, in some shots.
Mm-hmm.
And you just really get the sense of how much kind of value they get from the weather in Vancouver, where, probably miserable to work in, but really makes the series better, I think. I'm not watching with sound, I'm watching with the closed captions on. It just said strange whirring.
I've got mechanical humming on mine. I love that she later in the series she grabs the she gets her napkins and whatever she has, but here she just grabs the dirt and shoves it in her pockets.
Yeah.
It's completely
whirring gets louder, it just said on my subtitles. I think she pulls the gun. She's got the gun, obviously, and I don't think Mulder fires his gun for quite a while. I think he fires his gun at a wolf or something in Conduit, but he doesn't shoot anybody for a long time, I don't think.
Yeah. Is it this first person Scully shoots is Mulder, right? I can't remember.
I don't know. Could be.
Be something to check out.
Drop your weapon. I like the way she's kind of posed here.
Oh, yeah.
And I suppose this is one of the first instances of they always have this kind of clash with the local law enforcement in some way, don't they?
Uh-huh.
And this must happen hundreds of times over the course of the series.
Yeah, right. So when he drove up and you saw the lights and heard the mechanical whirring for the first time, did you really think it might be aliens? I did. I totally bought into it.
I don't know, to be honest. Probably not, just because by this point I'd already seen Dwayne Barry and Anna Sars and everything, and I kind of cycled back to see this, so I don't know. I wish I could remember, because I vaguely remember watching this for the first time. It was like, there was a TV channel over here that did like an X-Files night, and they just played like 5 or 6 episodes, and this was the first one, obviously.
Oh, nice.
And like, do you remember, like, before you could get box sets so easily, like, if you had something like that, it was a chance to kind of catch up on something you hadn't seen before.
Yes.
And I remember I saw Ice that night, and Humbug, for the first time and stuff, and kids these days don't know how easy they've got it, do they really, with their kind of play from episode 1, season 1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that was part of the fun of this show, is just the idea that you couldn't miss it. You had to be in a specific place at a specific time, so that you could watch this and not,
Well, not just that, but I think genuinely the best way to watch the X-Files is probably to kind of jump in, a season or 2 in, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes when people watch it from episode 1 and they go and watch every single episode, I'm not surprised sometimes when people check out, because you can get to like season 1 and get to kind of a rough streak, and I understand why people maybe don't stay the course,
Yeah.
So this is an interesting scene, isn't it? 9 minutes. Lost.
9 minutes.
Mulder Whoops was just the soprano. I really like this scene.
Oh yeah, he's so excited. I just love it. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, sweet Mulder. Bless.
Time can't just disappear.
Universal variant.
Look at that rain. That's incredible.
Oh yeah.
This computer she's typing on looks ridiculously antiquated, doesn't it?
Oh right. Oh my gosh. It's like a massive brick.
What do you think of the way she's kind of dressed for bed here? It's kind of like a... How do you describe this? Like, it's like a red robe or something. Mm-hmm. Big, massive candle she's carrying.
Back when candles were allowed in hotel rooms. Like, I always wonder where the heck she got that candle.
Now, this scene's a weird one, isn't it? Because, she's like kind of disrobing.
Well, it looks like she already took a shower, to me.
Like the shot of her behind.
Yeah.
Like, they don't do this kind of thing very often, but you see this in a lot of TV show pilots where they show a bit more skin and stuff than they will in later episodes. I mean, we'll talk about this scene with the mosquito, but I mean, do you think it's a bit contrived? Because I do. The fact that she's got these marks exactly where the girl had them and stuff. Yeah,
I mean, I don't really care, because, like, it's Mulder and Scully, and he is, like, such a gentleman about it. I love it so much.
What do you think's going through his mind, like, at the outset of this scene?
I think he is worried.
Yeah.
And concerned. Like, I think he's already, like, totally into her. And so, like, he sees her come in, and she's so scared, and that scares him. And, and then, like, he's like, they're just mosquito bites. It's okay. But then she's, like, totally freaked out, and he's like, hang on. She's, like, actually scared here.
Yeah, and we got this first little, like, kind of hug there where she, just after he said they're just mosquito bites, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And now we're going to get the Samantha backstory, aren't we? Mm-hmm. I was 12 and she was 8.
Oh, the all-important motivation for the...
Yeah, so what's interesting is he says she disappeared out of her bed, doesn't he? And then, like, do you remember when we actually see the abduction in Little Green Men, the flashback? And she wasn't in bed. They were playing the board game, weren't they? So, yeah. Interesting how you get slightly different...
And later they were watching TV, and, it's all about... That's what I do kind of appreciate about this show, is, like, you can... Like, his memory changes over time. you know?
It's probably a mix of, like, some of it is kind of continuity issues, but it's also kind of appropriate and in keeping with, like, the themes they're playing around with, isn't it? So,
right. Yeah.
And I know you don't like the episode The Truth, but this, I think this scene is staged like the final Mulder Scully scene in season 9, which is quite nice. They kind of set it up the same way.
Yeah.
So he tells her about discovering the X-Files, and he kind of doesn't mention Diana Fowley, interestingly.
Yeah. Or Phoebe.
And I think at some point he mentions, like, connections in Congress, so he's talking about Senator Matheson, I guess. And I always think it's interesting that they kind of set this up quite early, and it's a little while before they actually return to it, you know? Because you can imagine them doing the series and, like, making a big play out of his kind of congressmen and senators he's kind of in collaboration with, can't you? But they don't do too much with it.
And I love how he's assumed... I wonder if that's part of his flippancy throughout the beginning of this episode, because he thinks that she's just this secret agent sent to spy on him. You know? And so he's not taking her very seriously.
Because he thinks, you know, she's just going to go away and write a report and etc.
And that's going to be it, yeah.
So there's a moment here I like. It's here where he says, like, "Listen to me, Scully. This thing exists." And I think he really sells, like, the urgency and, you know, his kind of how intense he feels it. You know. Also, we got quite tight close-ups on them. You know, and I know we all like looking at their faces, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Well, seriously, no, I mean, a lot of it's carried by their, like, facial gestures and you know, longing gazes and stuff. I mean, it definitely is a big part of the appeal.
I do not gaze at Scully, yes.
Yeah, whatever. Right, so, out on the highway.
We already know somebody's lurking out in the bushes.
Yep.
So, do you think Peggy was just a convenient thing that happened, or do you think that they did something to get her out so that they would get him out of the hotel and they could steal the evidence?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure I fully understand all the ins and outs of this plot, I have to be honest. And it's even harder, like, I found, like, talking to you, it's kind of hard to, like, kind of concentrate on that as well, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I've always thought that the way her watch broke looked like an alien on the watch. You
mean like the way it shatters? Yeah.
Just looks like the outline of an alien to me. I don't know.
Alright, so this is the building going up in smoke, is it? So what, we think the syndicates or somebody's kind of covering up their tracks, yeah?
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, I had never thought about it before, but I think you're right about the... Like, maybe they were experimenting on these kids.
Yeah.
And...
It's definitely, like, you know, you can sort of say that, but it's not too clear one way or the other, is it? So I quite like, actually, like, the vagueness of some of the details in this episode.
Yeah.
Now, I think this scene I've heard is like, you know, she has a nosebleed in a minute, doesn't she? And I think what they did, they kind of ran a tube or something down the one side of her face, and, like, I think the shot where her nose bleeds, you can't see the one side of her face, and it's quite a neat little practical effect, I think.
It is.
It's done pretty well. And this character, Teresa, returns in Requiem 2, doesn't she?
Yes.
And she's got a newborn baby, I think, at that point, or something like that. And
Uh-huh.
she's married to like one of the local policemen, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah. And then, doesn't he get does she die? I think she dies.
Does she die? I don't think so. I could be wrong now.
Or she gets something happened. Yeah. I just remember being really traumatized about that poor baby.
The baby, they make a point in Requiem if you see the baby's okay, don't you? A bit afterwards, don't you? Yeah.
Poor Scully doesn't know what's coming for her. All those nosebleeds.
Well, no, it's interesting, actually. Like, looking back at this episode, this is the first time I've seen it in a while, and, like, I know we've gone past it already, but, like, the first time she sees the cigarette smoking man and she looks at him, and, like, we know, obviously, now what goes on between her and the cigarette smoking man, like, in Honor Me and, like, the My Struggle episodes and stuff. And, like, that's probably the first time I've seen this episode and, like, thought about that, you know.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's kind of sad, isn't it? You know, all these... More so for Scully, I think, than for Mulder. Like, all these things we know are about to happen to her.
Yeah.
But, like, before she walks into Blevins' office, she had quite a, you know, promising career. We know in season 1 she's got all these friends who do, like, cello recitals and, you know...
goes on dates.
Birthday parties, goes on dates, and it all kind of falls away.
Yep.
In a certain sense, it's quite sad, but obviously she has this, like, really unique relationship with Mulder, doesn't she? So...
It's a trade-off, I guess.
And it just looks absolutely foul, the weather in this scene, doesn't it? I don't know how much was like actual rain and how much was like rain machines or whatever, but I think I read that they filmed this and the weather was just terrible. You know?
Yeah, I think it was approximately 11,000 gallons of rain used in this scene.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So Mulder's had his kind of thing about Billy Miles. He's kind of had his flash of intuition. So this is what I mean, Sarah. It's like 5:07 in the morning now. So this is another night where Mulder hasn't been to bed.
Yeah.
So they must be wired.
Right.
I love how kind of excited he is here.
Yes.
To kind of unspool his theory.
And it's contagious. She like totally...
Exactly, yeah.
I love how they figure it out together. This is a great scene.
It really is. This is one of the best scenes in the episode, I think.
It is.
Because she's about to have her own little realisation now, isn't she? Mm-hmm. They both, like, she's selling it very well as well, you know, the way she kind of... You can see the gears moving when she stops to think about what she, you know, her evidence or whatever. Yeah, so they're talking about tests here. So, yeah, I think this is some kind of, like, syndicate or syndicate-style kind of local conspiracy, yeah. Because I quite like the idea the syndicate's just got these little things going on, you know, in these kind of ordinary places, you know. Like here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
I never liked Billy's nurse for some reason.
I don't like her either. She's kind of terrible.
Well, she says something about...
Yeah, the produce section. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not very nice, is it?
No. And I watched this episode for years, and I didn't even understand the joke for a long time. And then when I finally got it, I was like, oh, that is so mean!
Yeah.
It's terrible. But of course she's watching TV instead of taking care of her patients. Clearly she's a terrible nurse. She has no idea what's going on in her own hospital ward.
Like covered in mud.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, here's the line about the produce section, yeah. And the way she kind of says, like, what is she doing now? You know, like she's talking to Mulder about Scully, even though Scully's right there and stuff. Scully's freaking out a bit here. I like this as well, that she kind of gets ahead of herself for a second, and Mulder's the one who kind of says, you know, hang on a minute, you're going to have to write this up afterwards. Yeah, I think their interactions are really what kind of sells this episode for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I like this episode. I like the case and everything, but this is the element that, like, really clicks for me.
And it dawns on her. She's like, I've got to actually, like...
I got to, like, substantiate this.
Right. Yeah.
Right, so is this another night now? Or the same night? Or what?
I think it's the same night. Because it was in the morning. And then, it was daytime when they went to see the nurse, right?
Right, so this is the next evening then. And they're still, you know, they still haven't been to bed. Right, so running through the woods, she's been kind of cold-cocked.
Oh no, poor Scully.
Bum bum bum. Now, I don't know, is Billy Miles' father just kind of needlessly protective here, or what? Do we fully get his motivation?
I don't think so, but that's a tough call.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to protect their kids, but maybe they...
Because Mulder here is kind of saying, look, you knew all about this, and, like, you know... And it looks like what he said has kind of hit home.
Mm-hmm.
So Billy's under some kind of weird influence, and...
Yeah. I think he's trying to protect his son, even though he knows these girls are getting killed.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think he's kind of... He's kind of complicit to some extent, I think, but not...
But I don't think he knows what's
fully.
really happening.
No. I mean, I quite like this effect with the swirling leaves and everything. You know, and the bright white light. Scully a bit late on the scene, of course.
You think it really is a UFO? Or
I don't know.
It could be a helicopter swirling the leaves around. Maybe it's one of those black helicopters.
Yeah. I think it would be government, like, run.
Yeah, like a secret
you know,
plane or something.
Yeah, in light of what we later find out in the series. I think probably at this point, when Chris Carter wrote it, it's probably like, you know, we can figure out the details at some other point, you know.
Uh-huh.
Which I think is fair enough.
Yeah.
So we got this father-son reconciliation.
He's come out of his coma, and the marks are gone.
Yeah.
Magic.
So here we are.
he's like, wait a second, what about Scully?
Yeah.
I think she totally believes right there, like, something crazy happened.
And then what you think, just like in the cold light of day, she kind of rationalises it away, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I think we're a couple of weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I always forget about this stuff after the kind of investigation is wrapped up, but this is pretty good stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see the smoking man again, don't we? And that the guy Billy's talking to is like Dr. Verber, who Mulder has his regression sessions with, isn't it? Yeah. So we see him a bit later in the series too. So he's talking about implants, Billy. So that's important for the future.
Yep.
I think if they ever do a reboot of the X-Files, you'd probably have Skinner there from day one, wouldn't you, I think? You know, you probably wouldn't need the Blevins role, you just have it be Skinner from the get-go.
Yeah, I'm really... I mean, I know there's, like, reasons, but I wonder why they brought Skinner in so late.
Well, I know that... what I heard about Blevins is that there was some kind of salary dispute where, like, they couldn't afford him, I think. Or he wanted too much or something. And then that's why we get someone called McGrath in Fallen Angel and then Skinner ultimately in Tombs, don't we? So thank goodness.
I'm not sorry for that.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry. Yeah. I love how he tries to mansplain this to her, like, you are, you know...
your report's no good.
You didn't see what you just think you saw. This is not. Yeah. This is not what we hired you for.
So I think what I've heard is the guy that's with Blevins, the other agent. I think his role is what William B. Davis originally auditioned for.
Oh, thank goodness for that too.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How many of these little things that turn out to be brilliant are just kind of happenstance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like in Redux 2, obviously, Blevins will be shot by this man, won't he? So.
Yeah. I love how Scully is like sitting there and they're telling her all this stuff.
This on the table.
Yep. She's like, She's like, I hear what you're saying, and I know it sounds crazy when you're saying it back to me, but I have this, so fuck you. Sorry, guys, but, you know.
Well, no, I
like her ace in the hole.
Yeah, I like the kind of theatricality of it. You know, it's like I've got it. I can wield this at the the most opportune moment.
Yeah.
And like you see the smile on her face here. You know, it's quite nice. What do you think, really quickly, about... Have you seen the scene with her boyfriend that was cut from the pilot? I think there are a couple of scenes, actually.
Yes. It's been a long time.
That would have been interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'm glad that they cut it, though, because I don't think it was necessary.
It would have been interesting, though, for her to have a boyfriend, like, in the early part of the series, and you wouldn't have got the date, maybe, in Jersey Devil, but you'd have had a bit of stuff with Ethan, I think his name was. Like, I think this scene, maybe, I think the actor was in this scene as well. Like, she was in bed with him, I think.
Scully, getting around.
And we just saw the first, or one of the first, like, 11/21s.
Yes.
You know, of the series. Right, so setting up some stuff here. So this kind of phone call between her and Mulder, we see a very similar scene at the end of the Erlenmeyer flask, don't we?
Yes.
And we also, we're going to get to it in a minute, but the scene with the smoking man in the Pentagon gets kind of replayed in the Erlenmeyer flask as well.
Yeah, you'd think they'd know better than to answer any phone that rings at 11:21, but, you know.
Yeah.
It's never good news. It's never good news on the X-Files when the phone rings at 11:21.
Here we are, Smokey, and
they're back to Indiana Jones.
That's right, isn't it? Because that was one of Carter's favourite films, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
And the So he obviously, like we say, he sets up these things and he uses them again in the future, and he likes the full circle thing, doesn't he? And sometimes it works phenomenally well, like in Erlenmeyer Flask and Requiem. Other times, not so much. We can worry about that some other time, I guess, can't we?
Yep.
So I wonder how shocking people would have found this watching it the first time, that it's the Pentagon. Or is it kind of, kind of obvious, or what? I don't know.
I thought I was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
It's like, that's when I was like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
So that's the first time I've seen the pilot in a little while, and I really do like the pilot. We always talk about it online and stuff, and I think Deep Throat comes next. I think is even better than the pilot, but it's a really good kick-off to the series, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. So you think Deep Throat is better than the pilot?
I think it is. I think I like the case more in Deep Throat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a more solid
breaking into the airbase
case.
and stuff.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, if you had to pick one to watch, which one would you pick?
I don't know. I really do like the Mulder-Scully interactions in this episode, like we said. So it's hard to top the pilot for that,
right.
I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, a more fun episode to watch.
But then Deep Throat has got some of the, like, you know, the stuff in the airbase and then watching the UFOs. So it's a bit of a trade-off, I think. But I think 2 really good episodes to start the series. But anyway,
absolutely.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it, Sarah?
It was. Hope everyone else enjoys it too. Good times. I mean, like, we may as well just keep on playing and go ahead and watch the rest. No, just kidding.
All 200 episodes.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
Well, hopefully, Sarah, we'll do another one of these soon. I mean,
absolutely. It's good times.
I don't know which one, but any episode,
right.
Talking about any episode with you will be a blast.
Same to you. All right, folks. Well, thanks for joining us, and remember, until next time, trust no one.
Trust no one.
The X-Cast, an X-Files podcast, is produced and presented by Tony Black, alongside a dedicated group of podcasters and X-Files fans. You can find us on Twitter at The X-Cast, and on Facebook if you type in The X-Cast, or at our group, X-Files Basement, an X-Cast podcast fan group, where you can continue the discussion about all things Mulder and Scully. If you want to support the X-Cast further, you can now subscribe and become a patron of the show on Patreon. On Google, just type patreon.com/The X-Cast. That's Patreon. You'll see all of our tiers, subscription options and perks, which include early access to episodes, bonus content such as commentaries on X-Files episodes, access to a patron chat zone, and even appearing on one of our patron roundtable discussions. We would appreciate any support you can give the show, so just go to patreon.com/The X-Cast to find out more. Our title music is provided courtesy of Will A, who you can find on Twitter at IamWillAYE.